Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It's 8:30 in the morning here on October 4th, 2023. What I'd like to do today is I'd like to take a look just at crypto. I know I spend a lot of time talking about the stock market because that's what I actively trade every single day. Looking at crypto to do some interesting stuff going into the end of the year. And what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about that, get you all prepared for what is more than likely going to be happening. But before I get into all of this, as you all know, none of this that I'm going to be talking about is financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the market. And of course, if you need access to our Discord, you can find all of the information on BitDoctor.org. And if you use the promo code TRIAL2023, you will get a hefty discount off the first month of membership, where you will get access to the indicators, the trades, the community, and we're talking both equity trades and day trading options, if that is your cup of tea. All right, so let's go ahead and move on into the chart. I'm going to be starting here with Bitcoin. Naturally, it makes sense to start here and just to talk about where the market looks like it is heading. What I want to do first here is I want to talk about cycles and where we are potentially at. With the cycles that we're in. And, we talked about this on the video yesterday, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this. But again, what I will say is, we've got a cycle top here, we've got a cycle top here, and this is creating our time cycle. And of course, we have a cycle here where we dumped afterwards. We have a cycle here where we pumped afterwards. We have a cycle right here, which we've dropped so far. It wasn't as steep as we've had, say, here, steep drop, here, steep drop, here, steep drop, here, steep rise. And then here it's just kind of moved sideways. But again, I talked about this yesterday. What I'm really expecting Bitcoin to do, as I zoom in just a little bit here, I am expecting Bitcoin to continue to test this level here at about 25,250. And once we go back there, it's likely not going to hold. And I said I wasn't going to talk about the stock market. I'm not going to chart the stock market. But what I will say is I've been talking about a potential move up in the stock market going into the end of the year, not necessarily meaning that it's going to continue to rise all the way through December 31st, but that there's going to be a significant move to the upside, at least going into the end of October, the beginning of November. I was expecting a move to the upside in this first couple weeks of October. We will wait and see what happens there, because a couple of things have happened over the last 2 days, which don't look great, but we've got time to dig our way out of there. And same thing with Bitcoin. I'm still expecting, this move up here to pull back and then to see that move to the upside, which is going to take us into the golden zone. When we get to that golden zone, right? So what I'm looking at here, we talked about this. So this really shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Let me go ahead and pull up my favorites here just so that I can get things ready and easy to capture. So from up here, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a finishing move down here, and this is going to be on a pretty low degree, just counting this out. And then from there, it looks like we've got a little bit of a correction, 3 waves up, right? And again, we're going to go ahead and put this also on a very small degree here, because what I'm expecting is a 3, 3, and then 5 wave move up into this structure here. So this is going to be the completion of that move. Is this going to, go out a little ways? This is going to go out a little ways. That really is anybody's guess. But nonetheless, I am expecting us to come back and retest this level right here, which is going to be at about 26, we'll call it 26,700. I don't know what the significance behind that level is, but what I can say is we've got a lot of evidence that we've got significant support and resistance here at this level. And so therefore, due to that fact, I am expecting that this level is important for some reason. After we complete this 5 waves down and then 3 waves up, then I'm expecting this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like this to happen. And this itself might go into the end of the year. We'll have to just sort of wait and see. But I'm expecting this to be a 5, 3, and 5, right? Of course, on a higher degree. And as we go higher, in our degree, the the way that we mark and label our Elliott count, our Elliott wave count is going to adjust ever so slightly. So we've got 5 waves down, 3 waves up, and then we're expecting there to be a significant pullback going into, potentially the end of this year, right? So whatever move up that we have going into, maybe it's the end of October, maybe it's October 15th, because again, this move that we got here was much faster than I expected it to be. So again, a nice little pullback and then a push up here would make a whole lot of sense. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a moving average on here. Let's see here. And let's see here. And I would like to use, I'll do the exponential moving average for right now. And I want to put the 200 on here. So let's go ahead and change this to a 200. Whoops, not 9200, just 200. All right. So our 200 exponential moving average, which of course is going to be a little different than our simple moving average, which I'd like to take a look at that as well. Let me change the color of this because I like my exponential moving average to be more of a purplish color. So I'll put that there. That is our exponential moving average, or 200 exponential. You can see that we found support there, found support here, and then we found a little bit of resistance here at this level, but we're currently trading above that level. So a pullback here would make a whole lot of sense because that would be continuing to test that same moving average, right? So to move up here and then to come back down and retest this 200 exponential, which is going to be right around this level right here, would make a lot of sense for us to then bounce off of that, see this move to the upside before coming back, failing it, and then continuing to go down. And if you take a look at this count, right? So let me go ahead and pull this right here. So from up here, if we come back down here to test this and we break down below and then we retest it, then we go down for the wave 3, wave 4, and then we go down for wave 5. So that's going to be sort of like what our subdivision is likely going to look like, and that looks pretty good for a nice impulsive move to the downside to finish whatever correction that we might be having. And as you can see, of course, I've talked about this yesterday, that target's going to be right around 20,000, assuming we have a head and shoulders that is forming here. If we break down below this, we're going to be going down to the $20,000 level. And are we expecting that to happen again by December 31st? We don't know. All I can say is if we do get up here and we reject from this level, which is about 29,000, right? 29,000 to 29.4. We reject there and then we come back down to this level and we break it. If we break down below 25, we're going to go to 20. It's almost guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed in this market, but it's almost guaranteed because this is the chart formation that is currently being built. If we go up here, we create that right shoulder and then we break down, well, then we measure the top of the head to the neckline and then our target is going to be right down here at 20,000, which happens to coincide, just in case you are looking left as you should be, that coincides with this level right here where we have already tested and we have found support. And what that would then do, looking at the daily time frame here, what that would then do is that would create a higher low, right? Depending on how long this takes, we don't know how long it's going to take, but if we take this guy right here and then we move this out like this, we're probably going to create a higher low. And if I had to, make some kind of a guess as to what this is actually going to look like, let's go ahead and get our channel on here. We've got this guy right here, and then we're going to go ahead and mark it right there, right? So we go down here. This could take a while to hit. So we could actually be going into this cycle before we actually, hit that target. So we could be going actually into the end of February before this target is hit, which means this, of course, is all going to be pushed out and slowed down significantly. So, just keeping an eye out for that as well. Just taking a look at WaveMaster performance throughout all of 2023. And, as far as the buy side goes, if you take a look at this, we had a nice buy signal here, which caused a little bit of a rally. We had a buy signal right here, which caused a little bit of a move up, not a whole lot. But then we had our third buy signal here, which ended up a significant move to the upside. And we have had another buy signal right here, which we've already had a little bit of a rally. But I'm expecting this again to create a little bit more of a rally. right? So just watching those buy signals. And once we get another one, so these guys right here probably going to move up and down. This is probably going to, kind of move around a little bit. But we get down to this, if we get to a point where we have a lot of confluence down here on the Wave Master indicator, that's really, again, when we're going to be kind of expecting there to be some kind of a rally. And the big question is that going to be the rally, or is there something else that's, it's going to be happening? We'll have to just wait and see. All right, so I talked for 10 minutes about Bitcoin. I'm not going to talk for 10 minutes about everything else, but again, what I do want to do is I want to take a look at some other cryptos. So I'm going to go into some charts that probably have some stuff on them that I'm going to completely clear out, because what I want to look at is from a I'll call it a naked level, right? Where there's nothing on the chart, it's just candles. And I want to take a look and see where we might have some, some formations that are coming up. Just kind of take a look and see if it flows, if it jives with what we're looking at here on Bitcoin. So we're going to start with Link. And again, I've just got some levels on here, but I'm going to go ahead and clear it out. Link had a really, really good rally, right? Link had a 41% rally. And I'm going to zoom out quite a bit here, because looking at Link, right, what we're looking at here is the potential that we could have some more serious upside, right? Obviously, we've got a little bit of a resistance cluster, which is right here. This is pretty significant resistance. I'm going to go ahead and mark this, and I'm going to go ahead and label this as resistance. So if we can break up above this, then yeah, I can see probably room to come up here to about $13, right? If we can break through this level at about 830, and we get especially through 950, then yeah, there's going to be room up here to about $13. That's not a really significant upside, if you ask me. I mean, it's 38%, which with a little bit of leverage, that can really, grow exponentially. But also, let's just talk about what the downside risk is here. So if we take a look at the downside risk, we have some obvious support right here. Right, so we've got some support that has been created at this level right here. I'm going to go ahead and mark this in green because this is our current support. Right, so we're bouncing inside of this level right now. So let's go ahead and mark this as support. I'm going to go ahead and pull it in here just so it's all kind of tight. This is our zone. Now, what I can see here, right, and I think we can all agree that we've got a little bit of an A, B, C here, right? Or this is probably going to be more like a W right here. We got a W, and then we're moving into a long X, and then we're going to go into a Y, right? So again, how long is this going to take? Really, it's anybody's guess. If we're looking at it in terms of Bitcoin, right, we could be talking about, again, the end of February or so. But looking at this looks like, pretty bearish consolidation. And we really have tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times to push through the resistance, and it doesn't look great. And again, as far as the support goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're about ready to go down again. And one of these levels is going to break. Okay, and what we do know is if we can get up here and consolidate up here, chances are pretty good we're going to go up to 13. But what happens if we break down? Okay, so let's just talk about range expansion here for a moment. All right, so I'm going to take the top range here, I'm going to take the bottom range here, and I'm going to basically put this as a range expansion because we've got the potential for a move to the upside and to the downside. So let me put a couple levels on here which are going to be pretty important for us to pay attention to. So let's see here, 0.50, and I'm going to put the -1 on here as well. We've got some range expansions that we need to pay attention to, because if we break out of this range, again, the probability is that we're going to expand to the next level of the range. We've got our median, which is right here at about 675. We've got our upper, which is about 956, and our lower, which is down here at about 475, right? We've talked about those levels. If we break up, again, this X likely is going to come all the way up here to about 13 to 1350. That's our 50% expansion to the upside. If we see a push down, well, then we know that this X is likely completed, and we're going to be going down to probably 335 to maybe even as low as 236, right? I would like to see altcoins stay a little bit more vigilant, a little bit more, a little stronger than really going down to that 236 level. But that's your downside risk. And if you're going long on a break of this resistance, or even if you're going long right here, well, what's your upside? Your upside is going to be about 70%. We'll call it 68%. What's your downside? If we go down this low, well, there's 56% to the downside. So certainly you have more more profit potential, right? Taking the upside, but look at how much you could be losing if you're wrong. So where are you going to be managing your risk? That's always the question that you have to ask yourself. And the other question is, we talked about this with Bitcoin, right? I've got a little bit of a channel here. I'm going to remove this 65 because it's irrelevant. If we shrink this down to where we've got the majority of our support and our resistance, that actually is worse from a target perspective, because what we've got right there, it just so happens that the 100% expansion is pretty much spot on there, and then that 200% is right there at about 356. That makes a whole lot of sense. Let's just zoom in here, right? We've been talking on Bitcoin about liquidity taps. And as you can see, if we take this and we take a look at it from that perspective, from tapping liquidity, well, let's just go ahead and, and throw this out here. So we've got a call out. This right here is liquidity hunting. Okay, we've got liquidity hunt here. We've got it again right here, right? We're talking about these moves that go beyond the 100, or sorry, the top of the range. Right, so we've got a liquidity hunt here as well, and this is tapping the top. And then even with the massive rally that we had last week, it still didn't hit the top of that. Now, do we have liquidity hunts to the downside? Well, of course we do. We've got one right here. We've got another one a little bit right here, and let's see here, right here. Well, let's pull this guy down as well. So we've got a liquidity hunt here. So we've got lots of liquidity hunts that have been occurring, and it all is revolving around this channel. So we've got it right here, right there, and a little guy right there. And all of the liquidity hunts to the downside have been pretty small, with the exception of this last one, which got a little larger. Now, what you'll notice is this liquidity hunt was large, then it got smaller, then it got smaller, and then it got very small. While as, on the downside, we had a small one, and then a large liquidity hunt to the downside. So chances are pretty good. Probably what we're going to do, we're going to poke up above and reject, and from there we're probably going to come down into the support and break down, and likely head into that $3.56 level mark. I'm not really a fan of the upside here on really any crypto asset in the short term. Long term, you all know my stance. I am very bullish on the markets. It is what it is. But this is kind of what I'm looking at for Link, right? I'm looking at a range that we're in. So really what has paid, right, if we're being honest with each other, what has paid is shorting the top side of the range and longing the bottom side of the range. Really, that play has worked over and over and over again, but it'll stop working at some point. David, yes, I will take a look at ACH as well for sure. All right, I'm going to go ahead and keep on moving. This is my thought on Link. Chances are pretty good. A little bit of move to the upside. Tap into this liquidity again. Maybe it'll be a little bit more of a spike, but ultimately, I think within a day or two, it's probably going to break down, and I think we're going to see that level down here at about 356. All right, so. That was too long to spend on Chainlink. So let me look at Ethereum, and I'm going to go ahead and remove everything that is on here. I hate to do it because I've got a lot on Ethereum here. But what Ethereum is doing is obviously a little different. I'm going to see if I can put something on here that makes sense. Is there a nice trend line? There is. Look at how beautiful that guy is. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take it to this top range. So this channel actually looks pretty darn good, right? Is there potential that Ethereum is actually going to perform well? I mean, that's obviously a possibility. This buy signal right here yielded a pretty significant move to the upside. This buy signal right here also yielded a significant move to the upside. We had another one right here at the bottom. And this is when I told my Discord members, hey, you should probably be buying because we've got a good buy on the Wavemaster on the daily. And this was below 1600, or maybe it was right at 1600. Maybe I signaled the buy at like 1605 or something like that. But it was very darn close to $1,600. I mean, we're only at 1650 right now, so it's really pennies, dollars away from from where I issued that alert. But the upside potential is pretty significant. And while the chart looks exactly like Bitcoin does, where you have up, down, up, right? We've got 3 waves up. What I'm going to be watching for is some support here, and then a continuation to the upside, potentially getting up here to this 1800 level. Right, so that 1800 level is likely where there's going to be significant resistance. And again, we can look left. I'm going to move this down just a little bit, about right there, because this seems to be that level, really right at 1800. 1800 is likely where this guy is going to stop. You can see we have found support and resistance at this 200 exponential, right? So let's just go ahead and clean up some of this that I put on here so that we can dig into the 200 exponential real quick before we move on to our next asset. So let me just clean this up. All right. So what you can see is, we had a front run of the 200 here. We had a front run of the 200 here. We broke through it. We found some support there. We broke down, but we went right back above it. So I would call that a supportive move, as is finding this one a supportive move. However, on this side, we broke down, right? And then we've retested that. And it wouldn't surprise me again to retest it and get above it, just like down here we retested it and went below it, going up here and then seeing that rejection to see a little bit more downside. I do think, however, Ethereum is probably going to be a little more resilient compared to a lot of the other alts out there. So for Ethereum, watch 1800. If 1800 breaks, the next level that you're going to be looking for is going to be this one right here, which is going to be at over $2,000, right? So over 2,000, that is going to be the next level. And if it breaks up above that, well, then really what you're going to be looking for is, again, if this happens, you're going to be looking for a melt up to the median, which, could be that 2,500 mark. And again, that would be going into December. The longer it takes, it could be that it takes a little bit longer. There's 2,600 going into basically February. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. I'm not ready to say that Ethereum is ready to have a bullish breakout just quite yet, but it has surprised me many times in the past, especially when Bitcoin was at $6,000 and Ethereum was at like $170, right? And now Bitcoin is at $28,000. And Ethereum is exponentially higher than where it was back then. So Ethereum has been very resilient compared to most altcoins and even Bitcoin as well. Ethereum has held its value pretty well, even though we did see a move up here to almost $5,000. Can you believe that, guys? But we're still up here pretty high. But if we do see a breakdown, coming down here from the COVID low, where is an interesting level that we should be paying attention to? We've got the 50 right here at about 660, 650. If we do see a breakdown, this would be the next level that I would be looking to buy. And again, if we break down out of this channel to the downside, that's what I would be looking for to, to be making another purchase, probably with a little bit more capital than I did at 1,600, obviously. But down here at 650, that's likely where things are probably going to go if that does happen. Okay, moving on. I did pretty good on Ethereum, so let me take a look at Cardano. All right, so I'm going to remove everything that's here and remove all of this stuff. And so, okay, so for Cardano, I love Cardano, but it has been pretty disappointing throughout 2023, right? So I was talking about buying here when we were down at, below 30 cents, 25 cents. And yeah, it went up to 50 cents. I was expecting 2023 to be a little bit more bullish for Cardano than it was. I was really expecting a move up to about $1, up here to kind of test this range. That obviously didn't happen. We did see a movement to the upside, right? We saw a move to the upside, but I was expecting it to do something more like this before coming back and retesting this to see that continuation to the upside. But instead, what we're looking at is something where it does this, and then we're taking this move down, we're making that last move up, and then we're, again, probably going to see that move to the downside. So for Cardano, again, I'm going to go ahead and put this channel on here because, this seems to be the range to be paying attention to. We're going to put this right here and pull this down, right? So this is really where our channel is for Cardano. Are we going to see this move up here to about 31 cents? I would love to see that, right? The waves seem to suggest that we can see a decent move to the upside from where we're at. From where we're at, that move to be about 25-26% to the median. Do I think it's going to go up here to the top of the range? No. And the only reason why I say that is because, we rejected the 200 exponential here, we rejected it here, we rejected it here, we did that push up in a rejection here, and then we rejected it here, and then we've rejected it again right here. So if we do see that move to the upside, I would expect that to get sold into, because this exponential is probably going to continue to move down as long as the price is trading below it, which means we're going to likely see that rejection and probably continuation of the downside just a little bit more, which does fall in line with what the current theory is on Bitcoin, that there is going to be some more downside. So be prepared for that. All right, let's see here. I'm going to look at Solana. This one right here also, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep most of what I've got here in place. Solana has actually been pretty good throughout 2023. It, of course, had a big rally, right, going into January of 2023, but it didn't have that nasty pullback that a lot of alts have seen, where Cardano came all the way back down. Solana actually didn't, right? So this looks to me like we are going to see a little bit more upside. I'm going to pull this channel out just to kind of point out what we've got here, right? So we've got a tap here to the upside. We have our median right here, and then we have our range expansion down here to the bottom that creates this channel. Now what we're looking at is potentially this move to go back up here. It's about 32, right? That's going to take ourselves up to this range expansion to the upside, and then if we break out of that, chances are pretty good we're going to continue to go up to 60 to 61, 62, depending on how long it takes to get there, right? But as long as Solana is above the yellow channel, then I would say that Solana seems to be okay to me. Looking at on the daily, we've got the yellow wave, which has curled up, right? We haven't had a good buy signal since all the way back here, right? That was the last buy signal that we had. And the buy signal that we had before that was all the way back here. And look at how perfect this buy signal actually was back in December of 2022, right? We had all of the waves all below 10. All of them were below 10. Certainly there was a buy signal here, but look at the structure of all of the waves on the daily. They were all below 10, which is, not something that happens very often. I mean, look back here. Look at this buy signal that we had back here. Was it good? Yes, that did very well, right? This yielded a significant gain when we had this buy signal. But this one right here, all of the waves below 10, that had a significant move and fast to the upside. And when that happened, right, let's just talk about this here for just a second. When this happened on December 28th of 2022, let me see if I can do this. December 28th, 2022. And what I'd like to do is I actually see if we can do a replay back here, right? If you're looking at the chart and it looks like this, what did we have when this happened? Right? You can see significant drop to the downside, but look at all of the waves. We have all of them in this level below 10. Now, certainly the green wave was below 10 back here, but all of them are below 10 over here. Well, let's just go ahead and move forward one bar. Okay? So let's go ahead and move forward. So now we've got the signal, right? So you can see it turned into a white background, which is a signal to buy. We actually had a steep move to the downside and a little bit of absorption, all right? That was a great time to buy because, as you can see, we started to see moves to the upside. We have 2 days later, the green wave is starting to move up and out. We continue to move on, and well, there we go. There's a nice significant move right there, which yielded a 13% move. And you only had to wait 3 days for that to occur. But then what ended up happening? Well, we had another 18.5% day. Now, this green wave is really getting up there, but now we've got a bullish cross on the yellow wave. We had a bullish cross on the red wave here. We had a bullish cross on the green wave here, and a bullish cross on the yellow wave right here. And, again, you can see, it just takes a couple days of consolidation, and we're starting to see a little bit of a pullback, but look at that, it keeps going. Now the green wave is up here in overbought conditions, but everything else is still in a structure where it's continuing to move up. There's another one, right? You take a look at this, another 12.5% day. So we had a 13% day, an 18% day, and then a 10% day and a 12.5% day. And of course, as you all know, it did finally end up continuing that move to the upside. And then look at this, we hit that median, we broke out of that median and had a 32% day. So if you are on a daily time frame and you're able to have the patience to hold a trade and have the courage to place that buy when you have that signal right in front of you, you just have to have the patience and don't be over leveraged. And that, my friends, is how you survive in these markets. Because what I find is you have, all of these people, myself included sometimes, that have ADD, and you're looking at a trade and you have a little bit of profit. You don't want to see that profit be given back to the market, and then you sell, and that's fine. Securing profits is not something to be ashamed of. But when you have a signal like this on a daily time frame, you got to know that you're going to have to hold that trade for days or weeks. And so don't over leverage yourself. Place the trade responsibly and you'll be okay. All right, it is 9 o'clock in the morning. I promised I would take a look at ACH. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull up ACH on... I'm going to do it on Binance. I don't want to pull up my Coinbase chart because I've got stuff on there that I need to keep to myself. Okay, so, and I shouldn't say to myself, I really mean the members on the Discord. So looking at this here, we bought ACH way down here. Like we were below a penny, well below a penny. We were down here at the end of 2022 and ACH went up, hundreds and hundreds of percent. And we captured a lot of profit along the way. And we were looking to buy back in. So we were waiting for some of these pullbacks and we started reaccumulating on these pullbacks. Now, make no mistake, the reaccumulated buys are not in profit right now. But when you look at it from a holistic standpoint, when you take a trade and you're able to pull 400% on it, I'm not going to say that buying after it's dropped 40, 50% in value, I'm not going to say that having it continue to go down another 40%, that doesn't feel good. But by doing that and waiting for it to drop 40%, if you had 10 units of ACH and then you sold it for 400% profit and then you bought back at a 40% discount, you're not only getting those 10 back, but you're really able to get 14 or 15 or more than that, right? You can keep some profit, roll some of the profit back into the trade, and what that's going to do is that's going to lower your average cost. So if you did buy it at a penny, well, your cost now is more like 60 cents, 70 cents. So that's the strategy that I took with ACH, because I do think that ACH has some significant upside potential. Now, is it possible that ACH breaks down below this important level right here, which is going to be at 1.265, right? So 1.265 cents, right? If it breaks down below that, yeah, chances are pretty good it's going to come back down here to a penny. If it gets back down here to a penny, that, my friends, is where I'm going to be buying. But again, looking at trend-based fib extension tool, let's just say that it doesn't break down below this level, and let's just say that it holds it. Well, at a minimum, I would say that the chances are pretty good that we're going to go back up to 5 cents, almost 6 cents. But really, what I'm going to be looking for is this move right here, which is going to take us to between 8 and 9 cents. Now, what is the profit potential on that, right? So, I mean, even if you were to buy right now, not saying to buy anything, but even if you were, that's like another 500% on top of what we've already captured, which was between 4 and 500%. When we took our final profit takes. So the upside potential in ACH is great. The bigger question is, do you want to buy now? Or do you want to wait for Bitcoin to do its drop? Because it's more than likely going to happen. Based on my models, it does look like Bitcoin is going to drop sometime going into the end of the year or going into February of 2023, because just in case you were not here at the very beginning, our time cycle window right here is at February 29th, 2024. That's our next time cycle. So whether this happens quickly and then rebounds into the time cycle, or if it gets extended, right, and we take time going into this this move here, one way or another, we're going to have a massive cycle at the end of February of 2024. But I do believe that we're likely going to see a breakdown of this neckline. We're going to see a test of roughly 20,000. Maybe it won't quite get there, but that's the target technically. From a technical perspective, that's going to be our target. And I would expect that the 29,000 level, between 29 and 29.4, I would expect that level is going to hold as resistance this time around. And then we're going to see a drop. Am I going to sell all of my Bitcoin that I have been dollar cost averaging, all year? Probably not. I'm probably going to continue to dollar cost average, because that's the strategy for that segment of my portfolio. Altcoins, I've got some that I'm holding, right? I talked about ACH. I stake Cardano, and I have been since it was 5 cents. But this is what I'm looking at here. So again, the question is, do you want to buy those altcoins now, or do you want to wait for Bitcoin to make its move and get those altcoins then, and only then? Because that, my friends, is where you're going to have the opportunity, because right now, not enough people are scared of the market. So the market makers need to scare the retail participants into selling what they have, or to liquidating their over-leveraged positions. And in this case, both longs and shorts are being liquidated left and right. I would expect we're probably going to get a liquidation of shorts again, which is probably going to be what takes us up here to this level before we do see this move to the downside, which is going to do what? Well, it's going to liquidate and annihilate anybody that longed down here. Even the people back here that longed and didn't take profit up here, well, price came back down. Chances are pretty good some of them got stopped out, but some of them might still be holding and saying, hey, I'm going to be okay, because this is continuing to go to the upside. But there's going to be a point where we do break down below this level, and anybody that longed, especially back here, they're going to get shaken out of their position. They're going to get liquidated, and it's going to be kind of bloody. I'm not going to say we're going to have any kind of capitulation, but you're going to have a lot of people, again, talking about crypto being dead, yada, yada, yada. It's going to be the same stuff, different day. And that, my friends, is more than likely what is going to happen with Bitcoin, either going into the end of the year or going into January, February next year. And only after that, I think things are going to start to recover. I talked about Bitcoin dominance the other day. Feel free to go back and take a look at the video from, I believe it was yesterday. I did talk a little bit about dominance because, what I'm expecting to happen is going to be pretty significant. You don't want to miss it. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here so I can get ready for the day in the stock market. If this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. If you need access to our Discord, if you need access to all of our indicators, education, trades, community, day trades, equity trades, crypto trades, and I've got my bull market picks that I've started to release to our members. If you need access to any of that, BitDoctor.org will get you to the place where you can access our Discord, and using the code TRIAL2023 will give you $30 for the first month to be able to access our content. And last but not least, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, good night, and a good evening. Take care, everybody.